Welcome back. You see, the last time we spoke, I was giving y'all my top 10 league winners for fantasy football. And most of them have been banging so far. Kareem Hunt, Alexander Madison, Al Mazard, they're going pretty well for sure, but fantasy football moves quick, so the list needs updating. It is my favorite time of the year when the bye weeks start to play a real factor in your team, which requires some action on the waiver wire. And also there's been some huge trades and injuries that have fully changed the landscape of fantasy football and completely shifted the values of previously non-existent players. So let me stop yapping and start getting into my list of players that you should be looking to add right now. So these are the honorable mentions that don't make my top 10, and I want to immediately direct your attention to Khalil Herbert down here, because I know you're all going to see that name and want to pop a blood vessel immediately, because he's been, just not playing. He's been catching splinters up the backside all season, but the rumor is that he might be traded, and he's more than a capable back that can be a steal if he gets traded to a team like a Dallas, for example, that would really feed him the ball at an RB1 level. So don't add him now, but he's here for if he does end up traded to a better situation. And as for the rest, it's just pretty good streams. Wicks has good boom potential in the high scoring offense. Ertz I've already spoken about before. He's just a good, reliable veteran in a position that a lot of fantasy teams have more than likely struggled in this season. Tutu Atwell has probably played himself into that third receiving role for the Rams since he's putting up at least 50 to 100 yards a game. Goodson has been promising enough to warrant some snaps even when JT gets back from injury and has big play potential. Hunter Henry's looking like a top target and a handy security blanket for new rookie QB Drake May, since he has 14 targets in his 2 starts. And Michael Wilson keeps getting a reliable amount of targets from Kyler Murray, which makes him at least worth noting and looking out for. As for Elijah Moore and Ricky Pearsall, I think they both benefit from the scenario they find themselves in, which makes them someone worth looking to add. But they are both the less appealing option than their direct counterparts on their team, which I'm going to get to just about now because I've got a top 10 to get to. This rookie is starting to break out as the Broncos have been finding a little bit of groove in their last few weeks. And the reason I'm drawn to him, despite literally 99% of leagues ignoring his existence, is because of the rapport he has with QB Bo Nix. They both just got drafted from Oregon and have already been linking up on passes for a couple years now, so naturally as Nix starts to get more comfortable, he keeps targeting his boy Franklin as one of his go-to guys. He's only 1% owned, so this isn't like a league-defining move, but I think it's a very smart move to make if you need receiver depth, as I only see him getting better and better. I've spoke about Hill in my previous video, so I don't really need to repeat myself too much here. He's obviously a backup to that complete beast mountain of a man Derrick Henry, but he's great in the screen game, which makes him very valuable in PPR and half PPR leagues. And in the event that an aging Henry were to ever go down injured, his value would go to the moon. Both of these make him worth a little pickup. And now for the first of the true opportunistic pickups. The Bucs receiving core is in hell now that Evans is out long term and Godwin's season is basically done. So one of these boys is about to become wide receiver 1 in that room, and I rank them together because I literally don't see a difference in their value. I can see them probably switching week to week, where one time they ride the hot hand of McMillan, then the next week it's the opposite. So I don't know, you can flip a coin or something. Just get one of these two because they'll have immense value for such low owned players until Evans comes back in week 12 at least. For the first tight end entry of the list, I got the Jets' reliable Tyler Conklin. And I say reliable because he has 21 catches in 5 weeks and is usually pulling in at least 4 receptions a week over that time. This is a high floor player who can be good to cover a bye week or an injury, or even just replace if you're really struggling in that position, even if his ceiling is low. Yes, I am still on the Roschon bandwagon, even though DeAndre Swift decided to wake up ever since I said Roschon was going to snag his RB1 chain. I don't care, I still see Roschon and how good he is in the red zone, and can't help but think he's still a good pickup. Because I think his touchdown scoring probability is as high, and if not higher, than just about anyone you have on your waiver wire. He might not get a huge volume of carries, but his floor should almost always be respectable because of his ability to score touchdowns in the red zone when given the opportunity. It has taken a while, but Mr. Rashad Bateman has decided to start fulfilling his potential finally in the last few weeks. And honestly, it's pretty great timing. Having someone like Bateman with 12 catches for 250 yards over the last 3 weeks on your waiver wire is unbelievable. I don't see him going nuclear like he did last week every week, but for the rest of the season, I think he's almost always a potential for at least double-digit fantasy points. He's a little higher owned than most people on this list, but worth a mention because if he is available, I'd consider him an essential pickup and is starter worthy until at least week 12. Like I said before, no Evans or Godwin for the Buccaneers, so they'll be heavily relying on their veteran tight end since the receiving core is such an unknown right now. I rank Otton well above both McMillan and Shepard because he'll end up being their unofficial wide receiver 1 anyways for the time being. And that's already been proven by last game, 10 targets for 100 yards receiving. He is the one to have if possible in Tampa Bay's offense until Evans gets back, and possibly even after that. So a few weeks ago, I identified that the Cowboys needed a true second receiver to step up and help CeeDee Lamb when all the attention is on him. And as it turns out, I just had the wrong receiver. It looks like Tolbert is that guy, and he's worth an add because I still think Dallas will start to click on offense eventually, and Tolbert will be that second go-to guy and rack up points when all the attention is on CeeDee Lamb. So remember how I said Elijah Moore benefits from his situation, but there's a better alternative? This is it. Amari Cooper is gone, traded to the Bills and released from the shackles of Browns football, but left behind is a huge hole at receiver that needed to be filled, and Cedric Tillman looks like that guy for the Browns. And now we know that Deshaun Watson is out for the year, which means gunslinging fames Jameis Winston might be coming in, which would boost receivers on that team anyways, or DTR will keep playing, and he already showed he likes throwing to Tillman in the last game. It's still an unknown if he is truly the replacement, and Moore can easily be just as good, but you know, as I talk, I realize I could have just paired both Brown receivers together like I did with the Bucks, but I'm here now, and I'm not re-recording that all. So I like Tillman, Moore's good too, but regardless, I still like Tillman more, as I think he is the Amari Cooper replacement, and can be a true top receiver in that weak and struggling offense that needs someone to take over. Now that may have not been the most confident from me, but this last pick with a similar situation on a different team 100% is. This is the one I would absolutely 1,000,000% add expeditiously if you are able to. Ayuk is out for the year, and Jawan Jennings has already proven in this season that when he is called upon, he answers the bell. 3 touchdown performance in a game earlier this year when some receivers were out injured. The Niners are still an offense you expect to keep ramping up, and Jennings is being thrust into an important role in that offense because of Ayuk's injury for the rest of the season. Add immediately, and hope the Niners stop trolling and you might have a league winner on your hands. So that's the top 10 for now at least, but we all know things will rapidly change again over the next few weeks. It's just the beauty of fantasy football. And don't forget to subscribe if you like fantasy football and just football in general, because I do talk about all sports, but football is undoubtedly my favorite to discuss, so there will be more coming real soon.